Hi, I'm Andy Perkins.
And I'm Rachel Arndt.
And today we're going to talk a little bit about Indiana's expungement law. Just as an overview, an expungement takes place when someone petitions a court to have a record that is sealed. And in the case of arrests, or in the case of misdemeanors or certain felonies, that person can go to the court, make a petition, and if they meet certain requirements, they can have that record expunged. And we're going to talk a little bit about what that entails for arrests, for misdemeanors and felonies, and what it means for employers.
For arrests, there is a 1-year waiting period after the date of arrest before you can petition the court to expunge that arrest. In order to be successful in having an expungement of an arrest, you can have no charges currently pending against you for any other crimes. The arrest must not have resulted in a conviction for any crime. It's also important to note that there are some filing fees required to request an expungement, except for with an arrest. There's no filing fee for that.
When it comes to criminal convictions, the general requirements are that a certain period of time has elapsed since the conviction, that there are no pending charges against the person making the request, that that person doesn't have any pending or active driver's license suspensions, and that the person has successfully completed the sentence. It may be at probation or fines, other things required of them at the conviction. It also must be brought in the county where the crime occurred, in the county where the conviction happened, that is. Waiting period depends on how serious that conviction was. For example, for most misdemeanors, it's 5 years from the date of conviction. And if the person meets those requirements, he or she can petition the court for an expungement.
If the court grants an expungement, what happens at that point is that the conviction itself is not dismissed. The record of conviction is not physically destroyed. What it means is that the record of the conviction or the arrest is restricted. So most employers aren't able to access that information, and that helps in terms of seeking employment.
Certain convictions are completely ineligible for the expungement process. These include convictions of an elected official or a candidate for office, convictions of sex or violent offenders, felonies that cause bodily injury, official misconduct, perjury, any kind of homicide conviction, which would include manslaughter and reckless homicide, human sex trafficking, child molestation. These are categorically ineligible for the expungement request in Indiana.
For arrests, there does not appear to be any limit on how many times one individual can request an expungement, but for most convictions, especially misdemeanor and felony convictions, the statute allows only one expungement per lifetime. Now, that's not one expungement of one conviction, it's one request. It's possible to request to have several records expunged.
There are also certain circumstances when even an expunged record can still matter. Those may be situations where the law can use a prior conviction as an enhancement. For example, habitual offender categories. The expungement doesn't erase the fact of a prior conviction for those things, or the fact of a prior conviction if you're dealing with a second offense in a certain area, such as OVWI or drunk driving.
It's important for employers to know what they can and cannot ask after this statute has been put into place. Most employers will ask the question, have you been convicted of any crimes? And right now, the proper form of that question is, have you been convicted of any crimes that have not resulted in an expungement? Employers cannot ask if you've had an expungement, cannot ask what criminal offense was expunged, And if an employer does ask that type of a question, there are some penalties to that.
It can also cause civil liability if an employer discriminates against someone on the basis of a criminal conviction that's been expunged. And so employers will need to be careful what questions they ask and be careful not to make decisions on records that have been expunged. If you have any questions about Indiana's expungement statute, please contact our office. And if you have any suggested topics for future Q&A videos like this, please send us an email or give us a call. Thank you.